everyone, my name is Anjali. I hope you all are doing great. Today we are going to be discussing some interesting interview questions on OpenAI ChatGPT. So I am assuming every one of you must have used ChatGPT, and this ChatGPT is extremely popular. A lot of people are just using it, being it for your office work, for your personal stuff, for posting pictures on Instagram, for making itineraries for your travel. Almost each and everything this chat gpt is doing. But what is this chat gpt? I'm like, this is still an open question for a lot of people. So today, while discussing this interview question, firstly I'm actually going to be giving you some overview across this chat gpt, and later on we are going to be discussing some questions. Okay, so let's get started. So the first question here we have is, what is OpenAI Chat GPT? So a lot of people actually say, hey, for this, let's use Chat GPT. And if you are stuck at somewhere, other friend will suggest, oh, why don't you use Chat GPT? But anybody actually thought, what is this GPT? What does it actually stand for? Chat is very clear that we are going to be chatting with some AI. Now, what is GPT? So, this GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. Alright, what does it mean? It means you are going to be using a type of artificial intelligence language whose model is going to be developed by OpenAI. And that model is actually going to be capable of generating lots of text based upon the given prompt. Like if you are texting, send me some captions on some waterfall picture. So of course it is going to be showing you some results, and those results are going to be based upon your given prompt. Alright, also it is going to be giving you the option of regenerating more responses. So when you talk about this GPT model, so these GPT models are trained using large amount of data. So here you are actually going to be having large amount of data. And have you thought, why are we actually using large amount of data? That is because if it is not going to be having lots of data, how it is actually going to be showing you all the results correctly? Because when we are going to be looking for some answer, let's talk about the Google search engine. So there also you must have known, if you have discussed about the web crawler. So what we actually do there, we crawl information from all the websites. Similar kind of a thing we have also done it here. And by crawling all the different websites, we have collected large amount of data. And based upon those data, we are training our model. And with the help of that training, that model is able to generate responses that are similar in style and also in the tone of human writing. Like if you are going to be searching on your Google, so how it is actually going to be there, you will be having various websites available to you, and when you are going to be searching, it is actually going to be providing you results from those websites. It is not going to be modifying the data. But when you talk about chat gpt, so what it will be doing in this case, it is also going to be writing it down in such a manner like you are talking to a AI. You are talking to a human, which is artificially intelligent. And this AI thing is quite popular in today's world. If you will see, we are using it at each and every place. We have these chatbots available for each and everything. We also have a chatbot in the Snapchat where, that is actually acting like your virtual friend who is going to be instantly replying you with each and everything. Even if you're sending some message or sending some image, that AI is also replying to you as if you're talking to some of your friend. So that is something which is becoming extremely popular. Okay, now let's move to our next question. Now the next question which we have here is, how does chat gpt work? Okay, so I have already told you that when you talk about Chat GPT, what it is actually going to be doing, this one is going to be generating some text for you. And because of that reason, we also call it as, also known as generative chatbot model, because in this particular one what we are doing, we are actually chatting, right? And that one is generating text for you. And when it is actually generating text, so what it is referring to, so this one is referring to a type of artificial intelligence technology which is used to create natural language conversation. So here we use a type of artificial intelligence technology which is used to create natural language conversations between machine and humans. Okay, I have already told you here that GPT, that stands for generative pre-trained transformer, which is going to be using a type of neural network architecture which is going to be using large amount of existing data. It is not going to be creating something new. This one is going to be using some existing data so that it can learn and generate responses. The ChatGPT model is basically designed to understand natural language inputs from the user and generate contextually relevant and accurate responses, such as answering questions, suggesting solutions, or providing recommendation. So this technology has various applications such as customer support, online shopping assistant, virtual personal assistant. So you must have seen now, even if you talk about, some banking website, yeah, banking websites, or even if you talk about the banking IVR. So that one is like, you just tell me in few words and we will be able to assist you. Same thing happens with the chatbots and all. They will just say, okay, you just write down your problem in few words and we are going to be helping you out. If you talk about these bots, these ones which I still feel are not well trained, but of course they are working on the training part because they do not have a lot of information available. But if you talk about the chat GPT, here what is happening, if like let us say you are just asking, tell me the 5 days itinerary to Kashmir example. Okay, so what it is basically doing there, we already have a lot of itineraries available in the internet. So we already have some humongous amount of data. Out of that, it is just extracting out, and that process, if you will see, that extraction, generating response, displaying it on the screen, everything happens within fraction of second. So that one is quite fast, right? Now, a lot of people actually think that if this chat GPT is so good, it is also doing office work, like a lot of people are using it even for their day-to-day lives. So is this going to become a competition to human? So, as a artificial language model, like, this is not actually designed so that it can compute with the humans, right? Of course, a human is going to be something which can give you some impromptu answers as well. On the other side, if you talk about chat GPT, so that one is not actually going to be giving you some impromptu answers. That one is going to be giving you only those answers for which that model has been already trained. Okay, so basically the primarily goal of your chat GPT is to assist and enhance human communication by generating relevant and like whatever the output you are asking. So based upon that, whatever it is generating, okay, so based upon your question, it is going to be generating some responses. However, you need to understand that although this chat GPT is providing information and insights, this one is not a replacement for your human interaction, because this one is going to be purely working based upon the data based upon the algorithms. Okay, it is not at all going to be providing you the answers based upon the human experience and emotions. That is why this one cannot be a replacement for your human interaction and expertise. Now we are going to be discussing how ChatGPT work for any query. Okay, so now in this ChatGPT, right? So this one is actually going to be using some NLP. NLP stands for natural language processing. And by using this natural language processing, this chat GPT is going to be understanding and interpreting a user's query. So to interpret and understand user query. Okay, so here we are going to be having some chatbots which are going to be using some machine learning algorithms so that it can learn from the previous interaction. Also, it can work to improve their response accuracy over the period of time. Now we are going to be looking into these steps that your chatbots, like, which are actually going to be taking. Okay, so I'm just going to be telling you about all of those steps one by one. So the first step is actually receive the query. So how they are going to be receiving the query? So that is actually going to be in the form of natural language. All right, after this, what is the next step? Then that is pre-processing the query. So in this case, what we will be doing, of course, you are going to be having some input. So that input query is pre-processed, and how it will actually be performing that? By removing some stop words. If it is having some tokenization, so that also it is going to be removing. Okay. After this, what is the next step which we will be doing? That is interpreting intent. So how it is actually going to be actually interpreting that, what is the intent behind that question? So for that, your chat bot is actually going to be using NLP, and based upon that NLP, it is going to be interpreting the intent behind the query part. Now the next one which we have here is generating response. So in this case, based upon what the based upon the interpretation of your user's intent, the chat bot is actually going to be generating a response. And how this chat bot is going to be providing you that response? Using the pre-trained data. Okay, and that is actually going to be trained to a great level in a specific domain. Now after this, what is the next step which we have here? That is providing accurate response. So how it is going to be ensuring that whatever response it is providing, that is accurate? So this chat bot is actually going to be checking the response for the accuracy and relevance to the user's query. It is also going to be rephrasing the response, and it will also ask for the follow-up questions to improve the relevance of the response. So some of the times, like let us say you are asking the chatbot about some question and chatbot is not very clear across it. So what it will be doing, it will keep on asking the relevant questions so that it can actually, collect a lot of data, and based upon all of that collected data, it can interpret the user's intent, and based upon that, it is going to be providing you all the accurate responses. Now, what is the next step which we have here? That is continuing conversation. So if you talk about the chatbot, if that chatbot requires some further information or clarification, it will be asking you some follow-up questions so that the conversation can keep on going. And this is something which you can actually check. Like, I was giving you the example of the Snapchat thing. So there the AI which is there, if you will just ask some questions, right? If that AI is not very clear across what you are asking, so it will say, hey, are you are talking about this, or hey, are you talking about that? So that is how it is going to be asking you questions. So that is going to be happening in the continuous manner. Now the next step which we have here is, that is learning and improving. Okay, so when you talk about this chatbot, so this one is going to be using machine learning algorithms, and based upon those machine learning algorithms, they are going to be learning continuously. And that is also going to be based upon the past interaction. Like, let us say today it is talking to one person, and after that it is gaining some information. So whatever information it is going to be gaining, it is going to be using it for the next responses. So that is how your chat gpt is going to be learning and improving. So when you talk about this chat gpt, so here we are going to be having the chatbots which are using natural language processing and machine learning algorithms, so that it can understand and interpret user queries accurately, and it can provide a relevant and accurate response. Now let's move to our next question. Now the next question is, what kinds of questions can users ask ChatGPT? So basically it is like, do we have any limitation here? Can we ask anything and everything? So users can ask ChatGPT a variety of questions, including simple or more complex questions. You can also ask the ChatGPT like, what is the meaning of life, or what year did New York became a state? When you talk about this chat gpt, so this is very proficient with the STEM disciplines, and this can also debug or write code. And there is absolutely no limitation to the types of questions which you can ask the chat gpt. However, when you talk about chat gpt, right, in this particular one, the chat gpt is going to be using the data up to year 2021. It has no knowledge of events and the data past that year. That is the limitation which you have to keep in your mind. 2021, last 2 years of data only. Okay, and since it is a conversational chatbot, so users can ask for more information, and it can also ask to try again when you are going to be generating the text. Okay, now, the next question here we have is, how are people using Chat GPT? So, when you talk about Chat GPT, it is versatile and it can be used for more than human conversations. People have used Chat GPT for performing a lot of operations. What and all those are, I will be helping you in listing down below. You always have to keep this in your mind that we have absolutely no limitation. You can also perform various operations, like let us say you are stuck with writing some program, so you can ask chat gpt to code some computer programs for you. Okay, now let us say you are a singer and you need chat gpt's help to compose music. So this chat gpt can also help you in composing music. Now let us say you are quite new to the employment world, or let us say you're quite new to the student world, or you're quite new for the emails and you do not know how to draft it. So for that purpose also, you can go ahead and use chat gpt for that. Okay, now what else your chat gpt can do? Let us say you are having some article, podcast, or presentation. If you want to summarize it, you can use chat gpt for the same. So this will summarize the articles, podcasts, or presentations for you. Okay, now let us say you want to post something, or on some social media, or if you want some script, like you must have seen on the social media, now we have lots of influencers, and for those influencers usually the brand sends the script, or sometimes the influencer has to look for the script so that they can promote a product or anything, right? So for that, if you want a script, because not everybody is going to be super creative, so for that also you can go ahead and use chat gpt. So this one is going to be providing script for your social media posts. Now, what else it can do? Let us say you are having some article. So those people who are very passionate about writing, so they will be having their articles and they want to publish it. But sometimes they will be little confused with what title to give it. Okay. So in order to create that title, you can go ahead and use Chat GPT. So this one is going to be helping you in creating a title for an article. Okay. Now, let us say you are a student and you do not like maths at all, but you have your homework pending. So what you can do, you can simply ask your chat gpt to solve the maths problem. Anyway, that was an example. You can basically use it for solving math problems as well. Okay. Now let us say you are having some keywords, and based upon that you want to see how your search engine optimization is going to be there. So that part also you can discover with the help of chat gpt. Now what else it can do? Let us say you are having some website, for that you want to create some articles, blog posts, quizzes. So all of that you can go ahead and create with the help of chat gpt. Now let us say you are having some product, okay, and for that you want to create some description. So with the help of this you can go ahead and formulate product description as well. Okay. Now let us say you are a kid and you want to play some games. So that part also you can go ahead and achieve with the help of chat GPT. Now let us say you are a job seeker and you need assistance with job seeking. In that it could be related to various fields, like when you talk about job seeking, the job seeking process is not straight away process. In that you will be actually doing a lot of things. It could be something like writing resumes, or it could be something like cover letters, or it could be something like writing mails. So all of that you can actually go ahead and do it with the help of chat gpt. With the help of this chat gpt you can also describe some complex topics more simply. So unlike other chatbots, when you talk about chat gpt, so this one can also remember various questions so that it can go ahead and continue the conversation in more fluid manner. Because if you talk about other chatbots, like even if you talk about siri, right, so it is not going to be remembering a lot of past questions. At that particular times it becomes monotonous, that okay, we can only ask few questions, we cannot ask more questions. But if you talk about chat gpt, so here you can actually build your conversation, and you will actually be getting that human like replies in return. Okay. Now let's see what is the next question. So that is limitations of chat gpt. How accurate is it? So when you talk about chat gpt, so here it is going to be having different limitations, and I'm going to be discussing all of them one by one. So limitations of chat gpt. Okay. So what is the first limitation? It does not fully understand the complexity of human language. Like of course it is not at all a human, so you cannot expect like it will understand each and everything of the human language. If you talk about humans, like sometimes we people are those people, we can also understand things even when it is said in the code language manner, right? And that one adds complexity. But if you talk about the same here, it may not be working there because this chat GPT is trained to generate words based upon the inputs. And because of this, your responses may seem shallow and you can feel that it is lacking in true insight because again, it has been trained over some set of data, correct? Now, what could be the next limitation for this? So, like I mentioned before, this has lack of knowledge for data and events after 2021. So, when you talk about the training data, this process was like, when the people started building chat GPT, so that process started long back in 2021. They stopped training the data. That is why if you will talk about the events and the data, whatever are there after 2021, so that information your chat GPT is not going to be providing you. This chat GPT can provide incorrect information based upon the data from which it pulls. Like if you are asking something about what happened yesterday, if it is not having data, it may provide you some incorrect information as well. So, if chat GPT does not fully understand the query, it may also provide inaccurate response because chat GPT is still being trained. So feedback is recommended whenever any answer is incorrect. You cannot expect 100% correctness. What is the next limitation for this? Responses can sound like machine and unnatural. What does it mean? So, when you talk about this chat GPT, it can predict the next word. It may overuse words such as or and. And because of these things, people still need to review and edit the content to make it flow more naturally like human writing. Because if you talk about human writing, that one is actually going to be like which is something which is coming from your own mind, and you can be super calculative across it. You can be just putting a lot of thoughts, lots of innovations, lots of creativity, and everything could be based upon you. And of course, that is why there is no direct competition of the chat GPT with the human, because human can actually modulate his thoughts based upon the requirement. Like let us say right now you're feeling sad, you may want to listen to some sad music, but instantly your mood is better, now you want to listen to some pop music. That is how your mood is fluctuating. Similarly, if you're writing down something, you may have that fluctuation. Out of that, sometimes you may get some results which are quite helpful, and sometimes your results may not be quite helpful. It can be dicey. But if you talk about this chat GPT, it is always going to be giving you some unnatural responses. It is not going to be human, it is not going to be sounding natural. Okay, what could be the next limitation? It summarizes but does not cite sources. What does that mean? If you're talking about chat GPT, it is not going to be providing you the analysis or insight into any data or statistics. Your chat GPT may be providing some statistics, but there is going to be no real commentary on what these statistics means or how they are actually related to the topic. On the other side, if you're talking about the human, sometimes like even when we are talking, even when we are explaining, we'll just go out of our way. Why? Because we will be knowing some of the things which could be interrelated, and while explaining we will feel like covering each part of it. On the other side, these are unnatural. It may not be providing you things to that depth. Okay, now what is the another limitation? It cannot understand sarcasm and irony. If you talk about human world, if somebody is giving you some sarcasm, you will immediately understand, you will immediately cross question, hey, Was that sarcastic? On the other side, this is a machine. This is not going to be going behind the intention behind asking the question. Whereas humans can understand that, okay, usually he or she doesn't talk like this, why they are behaving like this. Okay, what could be the next limitation? It may focus on the wrong part of the question and not able to shift. Since it is machine, like if you talk about a human person, right, if we will feel that okay, something is not correct, we will immediately say, hey, some part is missing in the question, and this question is not correct, let's not go ahead with this question. But since it is a machine, it will try very hard to provide you the answer. So I'll just explain to you with the help of certain example. Let us say you are asking chat gpt, does a horse make a good pet based on its size? And then you ask, what about a cat? So chat gpt may focus only on the size of the animal versus giving information about having the animal as pet or not. So when you talk about chat gpt, so this is not divergent and it cannot shift its answer to cover multiple questions. On the other side, this can actually be done when you are talking to a human person. I hope you found this session extremely helpful and you must have gained insights about ChatGPT. So I am assuming from now on, if somebody is going to be just using this word in front of you, you're not going to just simply say, hey, just use it out. You will also be able to explain what is ChatGPT and how does it work. And similarly, when if you talk about some interviews and all, so there, if you will understand these things to a better manner, you will be able to answer these questions to a great level. All right. So if you found this session helpful, please share it with your friends. Like this video, subscribe to the Talent 500 YouTube channel. And if you have any question, any concerns, please comment it down below and I will be happy to answer all of them. And I will be seeing you in the next video. Till then, happy learning. Bye bye, guys.